And welcome to RSBN's Live Desk. It's the Director of Public Affairs at the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency. It's Marci McCarthy, a friend of the show. And now you have been at CISA for 2 months. Can you explain to us why CISA does and why it matters so much to the American people?
Well, thanks, Robert, for having me here today. It is so great to see you and you doing so well. I have been at CISA for 2 months and it has flown by. CISA actually is America's cyber defense agency, and what we do is protect the homeland in cyberspace. And that means critical infrastructure for everyday Americans, from 911 systems, telecom, hospital infrastructure, just across the board. And what was very interesting when I learned by coming here is all the other things that we touch upon, like special events like the World Cup that's coming up, and we just did the whole World Cup series here. Additionally, Super Bowl and the Army 250th Parade, we're protecting the critical infrastructure there. We also work with our regional partners to protect national treasures and historic sites like the Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania, in Philly, where I had to go a couple weeks ago and tour Lincoln Stadium for FIFA, and then, go to the Liberty Bell. We got to go to the top of Constitutional Hall, which was pretty amazing. It was a scorching hot day, Robert, but what it gave us is a total appreciation for the breadth and depth of CISA and what we do and how we protect the critical infrastructure in everyday Americans and the safety of them.
And Director McCarthy, can you share a recent high-level example of the operational impact of CISA and how it's protecting these everyday Americans?
Well, thanks, Robert, for asking me that question. We were out in Las Vegas last week at the Black Hat Conference, which is the premier conference for cyber defenders, threat hunters, and cybersecurity professionals across the world. And we convened in Las Vegas to share information overall. And what I'm particularly proud of is we worked with the research community to identify a major vulnerability in the Microsoft Exchange server. And working with that researcher, we were able to announce that vulnerability during the Black Hat briefings and timed it with a release of a report, an advisory that alerted everybody. This was done again in partnership with Microsoft. And then just 12 hours later, we're able to issue an emergency directive. And this was the first one in the Trump administration that CISA did issue. And this was all done at a major conference. What we were able to do is protect our critical infrastructure here in the federal civilian agencies that we do protect, and alert the rest of the community out there to lock down their environments and update with a patch by Monday of this prior week.
Now, I know that CISA actually recently announced grants at state and local levels. How does that support your mission?
Well, we are very committed to our core mission, our statutory mission here at CISA. Specifically, we just announced several grants that will enable the state, local, territorial, and tribal communities to have access to cybersecurity services and use that money to protect their critical infrastructure. Our deadline for that grant request is tomorrow, August 15th. And if you go to CISA.gov, you can find more information about that. But I want to encourage all your viewers that are in leadership positions in your counties and your state and local governments and territories and tribal areas to go ahead and submit for this grant, because it can make a world of difference. It can provide cybersecurity services, training, access to CISA services as well, like vulnerability management, scanning, again, all protecting the critical infrastructure in everyday lives of Americans.
And does your office see vulnerabilities, whether it be urban to suburban to rural America? And as you mentioned, the tribes too, because sometimes it seems as if those living, let's say, quote unquote, off the grid may miss out on these extraordinary grants that they can take advantage of for their community so they can secure their local infrastructure.
Well, for example, that kind of grant money can help upgrade and bolster a 911 system or your DMV system. So the everyday services that you have as Americans that your taxpayer dollars fund and have access to, we are there to protect the critical infrastructure of those services in the communities. But it is up to the communities themselves to make those investments, and the funds are available to them right there at their fingertips. And we had, again, over $100 million waiting to be distributed, but you have to apply and go to CISA.gov to do so.
And how can the American people support this very important mission?
Well, we're up for renewal. And we have the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2015 coming up and might expire on September 30th of this year. So what we're asking is every American to call your congressman, call your senator, and tell them to reinstate the CISA 2015 Act. It's a great call to action. Every American should call, because protecting your critical infrastructure and having the homeland protected in cyberspace is a duty of every American, and we want to continue that mission. Additionally, this bill enables the private and public sector to work in collaboration to share information with on a voluntary basis, but do so in a manner that is in real time and respects the privacy of those that are sharing the information. That allows us to protect the threat landscape, and again, go back to the critical infrastructure of everyday Americans out there in your communities. And we want to continue to do that for all America.
And something that should be bipartisan, and a great time right now for that, because Congress having its August recess, so they're most likely in their districts speaking to their constituents. So you might get that one-on-one time with your congressman and your senator to discuss the critical infrastructure to protect the United States. And Marci, you mentioned that you had that Las Vegas conference. I'm so interested with AI and technology and securing the homeland. Will you be taking this on the road as well, this message, not just in Vegas, but I believe you have a women's leadership conference coming up. So does CISA plan on getting out there and meeting with people to help make them aware of that this organization exists in the first place?
Well, I'm looking forward to traveling to Dallas on Monday and speaking to the many women in Dallas overall on the great things that CISA is doing. But we are out there across America connecting with our communities. So many of us are out there speaking on a regional basis and at conferences, meetings, and events. We encourage you to actually visit us at CISA.gov and request us as a speaker. We're also coming up on October, which is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we have many, many events planned throughout the country where we're going to connect with all Americans and our critical infrastructure, our state and local partners. Just, again, building the awareness of the importance of cybersecurity in everyday lives. It's wonderful for us. We have to make America cyber secure again.
And RSBN's Live Desk is very happy to help in that endeavor to protect the homeland. Now, you did mention that helping with Microsoft to make sure that they have safe systems. Will there be more public and private partnerships to collaborate on in the near future?
Well, 100%. So one of the things that we do here at CISA is work with all the software company and technology companies. And to date, we have on board 319 technology software companies to commit to creating and developing secure code. We're really proud of that partnership initiative, and that across the board ensures that all of our technology, all of our system, all of our endpoints, all of our devices are safer for all Americans and protecting the homeland in cyberspace.
Director of Public Affairs for the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, Marci McCarthy. Thank you for joining us on RSBN's Live Desk, and please come back soon. We can't wait to hear about your trip to Dallas, Texas. We love the Lone Star State, and we love this country, and we love to find ways to help secure it as you are doing on a daily basis.
Well, thank you for having me today, Robert. It's great to see you.